Shalom. So in this video, we're going to talk about Abraham and Melchizedek. The question is, who gave tithes to who? Did Melchizedek give tithes to Abraham, or did Abraham give tithes to Melchizedek? Right? So the reason why we have to clear this up is because a lot of people are focused on the concept that the New Testament is fake. So therefore, everything there is inaccurate, and the Old Testament is true, and everything there is accurate. Right? So in the case where you have things that are conflicting each other, are contradicting to each other, the first thought is going to be the Old Testament is accurate and the New Testament is fake, right? And then we overlook what the real problem is. So we're going to go to the book of Hebrews chapter 7, and we're going to start at verse 1. It says, "For this Melchizedek, king of Salem, priest of the Most High God, who met Abraham returning from the slaughter of the kings and blessed him." So we're seeing that Melchizedek blessed Abraham, right? Verse 2, it says, "To whom also Abraham gave a tenth part of all." So here it's saying that Abraham gave a tenth to the priest, right? Now let's go to the book of Genesis chapter 14. And to get context, we're going to go to chapter 14. It says, "And when Abraham heard that his brother was taken captive, he armed his trained servants, born in his own house, 318, and pursued them unto Dan. And he divided himself against them, he and his servants by night, and smote them and pursued them unto Hobah, which is on the left hand of Damascus." Verse 16. "And he," the subject was Abraham. So the he, which is a pronoun, is still talking about Abraham. It says, "And he brought back all the goods," meaning the spoils of war, because he just conquered 4 kings, right? "And he brought back all the goods, and also brought again his brother Lot, and his goods, and the women also, and the people." So now we understand that he's talking about Abraham, and he had the spoils of war from 4 kings, right? Now we're going to go to verse 20. It says, let's start at verse 18. It says, "And Melchizedek, king of Salem." So now the subject has changed. Now we're talking about Melchizedek, which is the subject. "And Melchizedek, king of Salem, brought forth bread and wine, and he was the priest of the Most High God. And he blessed him and said, Blessed be Abraham of the Most High God, possessor of heaven and earth." So who is the he that blessed him? The he is the same subject, Melchizedek. And Melchizedek blessed him, which is talking about Abraham, right? It says, "And he blessed him and said, Blessed be Abram of the Most High God, possessor of heaven and earth." Now verse 20 says, "And blessed be the Most High God," still talking about the subject, which is Melchizedek. "And blessed be the Most High God, which hath delivered thine enemies into thy hand," into your hand, Abraham, into your power, right? "And he," the same subject, Melchizedek, "gave," where am I? "And he gave him tithes of all." So this is saying that Melchizedek, the priest, gave tithes to Abraham. There's nowhere in the Israelite culture where is the priest giving tithes to the people, right? But because this is in the Old Testament, and you already have the misconception that everything in the Old Testament is 100% accurate. Now you're overlooking the reality. What is the reality? Do priests pay tithes to the people, or do people pay tithes to the priests? There's nowhere in Torah, there's nowhere in the law where the priests give tithes to the people. That's the first point, right? Now, the second point is, are these so-called Hebrew scriptures actually Hebrew scriptures? This is why I said earlier that we do not go back to the root of the problem, because we're focusing on the minor part to say the New Testament is fake, the Old Testament is accurate, when we're overlooking the reality that this Hebrew that you're reading from, this Masoretic Hebrew, when Paul was saying, to whom also Abraham gave a tenth part of all, he was not talking about the Masoretic Hebrew that where it says Melchizedek gave tithes to Abraham. He was quoting from the original Hebrew. Well, not the original Hebrew that Moses wrote, but afterwards you had the Septuagint, which was translated from the original Hebrew. So Paul, when he was speaking, he was never quoting anything in this Old Testament that we're using now. So when you go back prior to this Masoretic Hebrew, they understood that it was Abraham gave a tenth of what? The loot, the spoils of war. Matter of fact, even when you go back to Torah, you're not supposed to even eat the bread of the priest. You have to keep yourself a certain way. You have to consecrate yourself. You have to sanctify yourself. And also, before you can even do that, for the priest, you have to be of the household of the priest to eat it in the holy place. Right? So, what this is actually saying is, in this Masoretic Hebrew, is telling you that the priest gave tithes to Abraham. And this is why we cannot understand that what you're reading here when it says, Hebrews chapter 7 and verse 2, to whom also Abraham gave a tenth part of all. What is the all that is talking about? The spoils of war that you read over here in verse um, 16. It says, and he brought back all the goods. That same all the goods, he gave a tenth of it to the priest. Melchizedek only had bread and wine. So what did he do? Gave a tenth part of the bread and wine to Abraham? No, you know by law that that does not make any sense. You know, according to Torah, that doesn't make any sense. You know, according to experience, that doesn't make any sense. It's the spoils of war you devote to the priest. That's what Abraham did. But a lot of us do not want to face this truth that this Hebrew, this Old Testament that we're saying that is 100% accurate, that it also has a lot of errors. And all the translations that come from the Masoretic Hebrew is going to be problematic. It doesn't matter what translation you want to use, it's going to be problematic, because the real problem is coming from the root. What is the root? Masoretic Hebrew. So, to answer the question, who paid tithes to who? Abraham paid tithes to the priest. Shalom.